Hi, everyone, to a very solemn and special Good Karma live for you today. Today we have a very knowledgeable, nice man that I virtually connected with, and he's taught me a lot historically. And in this very turbulent time, we are about to hear from an expert who actually did Indo-China relations. And right now, I guess I'm feeling so confused. And a lot of my patients are coming to me and saying, Dr. Ranjan, another thing, like, how much more can we take? Another thing is happening for us. Another thing is on our minds. What can we do to relieve it? And honestly, I didn't have an answer, because since I've moved from the States back, 2 saal ho gaya, wapas aaya, that I don't have an answer for this one. It hurt me, and it still hurts today. And this episode is not only dedicated to our armed personnel, but specifically to the ones we lost in Ladakh that day. And I like to put their faces up and show you them. Colonel Santosh Babu, Havke Palani, Kundan Oja, Mandeep Singh, Ankush Thakur, Satnam Singh, Gurbinder Singh, Gurtej Singh, Jai Kushor, Rajesh Oran, Bipul Roy, Ganesh Ram, Nandu Ram Soren, Kundan Kumar, Aman Singh, Deepak Kumar, Ganesh Hansda, Sunil Kumar, C.K. Pradhan, and Chandan Kumar. This is to all armed personnel that help us day to day to achieve our freedoms so we can live happily, peacefully. We'll bring in the biggest one that I know to make sense of what's going on today. It's a very turbulent time, but General Gurmit Singh.
Thank you so much, and Jai Hind to you.
Jai Hind. Jai Hind. It was tough. It was tough. It was really tough. I'm so excited to have you, but I'm also mixed feelings, because it was so tough to say those names and put people associated with, we hear 20 martyrs. And I like to say it, okay, but I also say that, look, these guys were killed in action. They were killed protecting us. They had people to go home to. And it's unfair to discount that they were real breathing human beings that really were doing their duty. And I feel the loss, I guess. And I think a lot of us are feeling lost, and that we're hoping that maybe you can shine some light onto it with your.
Firstly, Dr. Ranjan, I am very touched. I'm touched as a soldier. And on behalf of entire Indian Army, I'd like to thank you that on this day, you've given the honor for me to be with you. And that too on a day when, you're right, there's a mixed feeling. On one side, You are sad that you lost the brave heart. You lost part of
Right.
your family. And on the
Right.
other side, you feel proud. I feel
Right.
supremely proud that we have the traditions of supreme sacrifice to ensure that our nation has peace. Peace has
Right.
got to be at the dent of strength. And somebody has got to rise up and say, no, enough is enough. I will not permit
Enough is enough.
anybody, enough is enough, and I will not permit anybody to step on the sovereignty and territorial integrity of the nation. I think that is most important. In fact, the most charming aspect of being Indian is that we come from traditions of supreme sacrifice.
Right.
In fact, no other nation has got traditions of this nature. In fact, if you look at the history of India, the atrocities which the Mughals did, the excesses which the Britishers did, and in the whole saga of last 700 years, 800 years, we have so many heroes, icons who laid the
Definitely.
path for us. If I look at my own
Definitely.
religion, I find my 10th Guru, Guru Gobind Singh Ji, he sacrificed his father for the nation. He sacrificed his four sons for the nation.
Unbelievable.
Where
Unbelievable.
else in the world you can get an example where father and kids and the person himself, the guru, has sacrificed. This tradition of
No.
sacrifice has been immense in India. In fact,
Right.
I'm talking to you, and it's always pleasure talking to anybody from Bengal because as
It feels like I know you almost.
yeah,
So it's great to have you.
and
It's great.
and to be
You
very
are
honest,
honorary Bengali. You are an honorary Bengali. Come on.
absolutely. In fact, it's a great honor for me to talk to you, and through you, I can speak to entire Bengali community, entire
Definitely.
Kolkata, entire nation, an entire community of the warriors of the moment, health warriors. So
Right.
I would say that this saga of supreme sacrifice that I was talking about,
Right.
in fact, I would like to, since we are talking about the subject of supreme sacrifice, in 1897, the date was 12th October, location was Hindu Kush area, and the place was Saragadi. There were 21 Indian soldiers. They were from Punjab, and all of them, for the professionalism and for the armed forces and the vow and the oath that taken, they had sacrificed their life. Something very rare, where last bullet, last man, 21 of them died. In fact, there are n number of sagas of this nature, and this brings me to night of 15th and 16th. The 20 brave soldiers,
Right.
and which were led by their commanding officer, Colonel Santosh Babu, they laid the supreme sacrifice. For whom? Correctly, what you said. They laid the supreme sacrifice for the nation, for the society, and for every citizen. In fact, if you look at the reverence which the entire nation is giving to them when the mortal remains have come into their native villages, you can fathom that what love the nation gives to us. In
Yes,
fact, to
sir.
be very honest, before I go a step further, when I'm looking at you, when I read the name, your name, I miss out on A. I say Ranjan.
Ranjan, or yeah, in America, Ranjan, or it's all messed up. But here they say it properly, Ranjan. That's really nice
and
that you know that.
what I wanted to tell you was that my three icons which I've had for my own self, they come
Sure,
from the land of Bengal. My three icons which I really revere is
sure.
Vivekanand, is Subhash
Wow,
Chandra Bose, and is
yes, Netaji.
Rabindranath Tagore. In fact,
Wow,
uh, uh, these are three icons that I have for myself. And I must tell you, when I was the when I was the
I like Shaitan Singh. I mean, I've been reading
beautiful,
about him more and more. I mean, wow, what a hero! And another
wonderful,
one you posted today on your Twitter.
absolutely, absolutely,
But hi, yeah. So you like all those three guys from Bengal? Those are your
absolutely.
heroes. Wow. So I wanted to ask you real quick about, you basically have been in every aspect of the military in very strategic, difficult to handle regions. Pakistan, border, Kashmir, right? You've been there. You've been in Ladakh. You've been everywhere. I can't even say you've been all over North Bengal. There's so many postings, I can't even get them all. But you've been in the key roles, as I mentioned here in your title, being relations experts for China and also for Pakistan, which are our biggest, if you say biggest threats, if I can say that word, but our biggest threats are that. So how was it dealing, like, can you give me some like experiential wisdom that, maybe to calm us down, I guess, because, the other day after all this, we're going through pandemic, mental health crisis, super cyclone, means one after another. And now we have this World War III trending. I mean, what is anybody to think? So can you shed some light on maybe diplomacy and, the 6 hours? I want to get into that details with you, but if you could just give an introduction on maybe what you did.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. In fact, I'm aware that I'm on the forum of good karmas. I think it is the karmas only which gives you a chance to learn in life. I'm a Sikh. Sikh in English means to learn. I've been very fortunate that Indian Army gives a excellent forum for you to learn and then to deliver on the ground. In fact, I have served for about 40 years in the Indian Army. And I've been very fortunate that last 28 years I've been focused on topic China. Went to China 7 times. Have been part of the expert group, joint working group, annual dialogue. I also had a chance to go to Taiwan, Taipei, to do a research on PLA and PRC. I took 2 years study leave from the army when I was a colonel and did a research on India-China border issue. But at the same time, I'm also conscious of the fact that our threat also comes from Pakistan. I have visited Pakistan twice as a serving Major General, and I've served in the Kashmir Valley for 10 years in the top ranks, that is brigadier upward till Lieutenant General levels, in the counter-terrorism. In fact, as an Indian Army officer, you are exposed. I'm an infantry officer, so I was more fortunate that I had chances to be in a number of counter-terrorism operations, having served in Manipur, Nagaland, in Sri Lanka, and other places, almost about 9-10 years of counter-terrorism. One feels very fortunate. In fact, like since I'm on the forum of good karma, and I'm talking to a doctor and dealing with the psychiatrist aspect of it,
I'm
I must
fortunate.
tell you,
I'm fortunate.
I must tell you, I must tell you that I think the best way to spend your life is be passionate about whatever you're doing. And I had the chance of being passionate in my professionalism and live the life absolutely intensely. In fact, there are many grades of how you look at life. For example, some people feel that my level is only happiness. But there are other people who say, I want to have thrill of life. Other people want to say that I want to ecstasy and the bliss of life. So you got to choose your level. So I was fortunate that my organization gave me chance to be at the level of the center of gravity of national security. And in fact, if I summarize my perspective with China, we've had uh, many differences with them, but then we are also conscious of the fact that we are two unbroken civilization of the world. We are also conscious that we are 2.7 billion of human beings out of the 7 billion human beings on the earth. And we are also conscious that we are 20% of GDP of the world. But unfortunately, what has happened on night of 15-16, has actually demolished my entire trust in China. Actually, the China has crossed the, what we say in India, the Lakshman Rekha. In fact, the
Excellent.
treachery and the deceit which China and PLA has done, they have lost one thing very big. They have lost the trust of India. I think they will not be able to repair this trust for next 100, 200 years. There's no doubt in my mind. And actually, China or the PLA may not be aware of what error or what mistake they have done. In fact, to understand that what is this incident and where does the pot of error of the Chinese emanate from? If we look at December 2019, since it is connected to the topic that you are also on from the
Definitely.
health point of view,
Definitely.
I look at December 2019 from Wuhan, where the virus started, and
I agree.
right from that point of view, that point of the history of mankind, of the world, of the globe, China has been doing error. They did strategic error of not informing the world. They attempted to do another error with the mankind to say it is not human to human. They have tried every trick in the game of lie, propaganda and झूठ. अभी जो उनका जो झूठ का
Ekdam true.
पहाड़ है, जो झूठ का
Right.
पहाड़ है, वो पूरा एकदम खत्म हो जाएगा, क्योंकि ये जो झूठ, लाई, प्रोपेगेंडा, ट्रस्ट वगैरह होती है, ये तभी तक चलती है जब तक आप let's leave out the word trust from there. Actually, China,
Right.
since I know them for last so many years, and I have seen for my own self that they were absolutely on the path of only media warfare, on psychological war, on propaganda war.
Exactly.
They are sitting behind lie, propaganda, and that thing has got shattered. We as a civilization,
But
we
you seem personally hurt, sir. You seem personally hurt because it
absolutely,
seems like your trust was there, and then I was
absolutely.
reading your tweets, and then all of a sudden, you couldn't put your mind behind that. Can they really do this? Like, is it possible? Because you had such good relationships. I think I'm also deeply offended, but I was under the impression from beginning conspiracy theory, and then I spoke to you and said, have a balanced outlook. So what do you think now? Like literally all these things. I mean, can it be a coincidence? I don't think so anymore. I mean, how much can coincidence can happen? Yeah, like I mean, it doesn't take a
Doctor
rocket scientist, right? Like to.
Doctor Ranjan,
I'd like you to comment this because it's something that has been a thing because I know personally you got hurt, and I don't like to see that you getting hurt. First of all, second of all, this country has been abusing its own people, and then not only abusing its own people, but on that back making us look bad in terms of a country in regards to their progress is what everybody tells me on the backs of the people without any rights. By the way, we are the largest democracy. This is no time for like party banter and all that. This is India time. If we cannot get it together now, we will be in trouble. And I just want your comments on that actually.
Dr. Ranjan, your inquiry is very innocent, and good people can only have innocent inquiry. Let me tell you. Let me tell you that you said, was it a coincidence? Now let me come to the hard facts of life. It was not a coincidence. It was premeditated. It was planned. It was deliberate. Let me rationalize and validate this for you. See, when the activities started on May 8th, particular date, and April end in the eastern Ladakh, it was a pre-planned move by China with the aim. If you look at it, 5 places in eastern Ladakh, on May 5 and 8, we had a ugly face-off between Indian patrol and Chinese patrol, where there was fist fight and there were injuries to a number of boys. This is May 5th and 6th. Then North Sikkim 9th of May, there was another face-off where 4 Indian soldiers and 9 Chinese soldiers got injured. Definitely. Apart from this, he instigated Nepal to come out with a new map, a unilateral map to change the status quo of tri-junction between China, Nepal and India. He also
Right.
went further that in the Pakistan occupied area of Gilgit-Baltistan, he went in for a contract for construction of Daimar Basha Dam there and signed the contract.
Right.
POK, Gilgit-Baltistan, which is our area. Now, it is not only actually incidents which have
When
happened in the
can I ask you one question? When was it deemed our area? Because that's a
yeah.
big confusion that
I'll come
people
back
have.
to you. I'll come back to
Okay,
you.
thank you. Thank
The
you. Thank
point
you.
which I'm saying is that activities in Eastern Ladakh is neither localized nor isolated. You got to connect it with what is happening in South China Sea. He's trying to
Right.
fight with Taiwan. He's having Cold War with the US. He's trying to have a confrontation with the Vietnamese boats. And you'll be surprised, Dr. Ranjan, that the
During a
diplomats who are
pandemic. During a
yeah,
pandemic, by
during
the
the
way.
pandemic. That's a beautiful pointing out. Actually, the diplomats who are supposed to be speaking a decent language, they speak
Right.
in a very mannered way. They also started acting as a wolf warrior. So
Really.
entire China went into a process of aggressiveness, provocativeness, and diversionary tactics. In fact, they put all their feet on all the accelerators against everybody in the world. So obviously, China is wrong, and it is
Right.
emanated from their central leadership. Let me tell you another reason that after 130 nations have risen up to say that we want independent investigation.
Right.
After World Health Assembly meeting which was there, 15 nations said that we want Taiwan we want as an observer there because Taiwan is democracy. They've done excellent job as COVID is concerned. So they were all saying this. So the entire pack of lies of China's has been demolished by the entire. Today, if to be very honest, if I look at this 85 lakh people who've been infected. If I look at 4 lakh 56 who have died in the world, what will their soul and Atma will be asking? They'll be accusing China. China has
Right.
got such a big blame of humanity on their head. And you also asked me this question about area. I must explain. See, it is very
Please,
important
please.
for a common
Yeah,
person in India to
it very much
understand.
is.
Yeah, it is very important to understand the aspect of LAC, line of actual control, and border. See,
Right.
when we look at the Eastern Ladakh, when we look at the map of India, China is in adverse position of 38,000 square kilometers in Aksai Chin.
Okay.
They came in actually Tibet. They walked into Tibet in early 50s, in 1950, started annexing Tibet, and then they came onto the Aksai Chin area. So they've been trying to, you know, they've been trying to squibble, annex the
Yeah.
territories. Now this LAC is the line of actual control. This is not the border.
But have we
So
let them, sir? Can you speak to have we let them? Because Exai-Chin, why not call it what it is? They stole that land from Tibet in 1959. Like, why not? Why don't we say it's illegally occupied or specifically occupied China, like Ladakh? Like it's our land, right? Like or Tibet's land and then our land.
very correct point, Doctor.
Uh,
Basically, in eastern Ladakh, 38,000 square kilometer is in the adverse position of Chinese. On 6th
sure.
August 2019, the Home Minister of India, in the Parliament, he said that this area of Aksai will be taken back. And let me, as an army man, as a citizen, let me give this commitment as a citizen that a day will come based on our combat capability, capacity, and skill, this area will be taken back. But the area where the present problem is there is about line of actual control. And line of actual control is something which is a temporary phase. We are trying to exchange the clarification of the LSC because it is unilateral. They have got a different perception, we got a different perception. And I was also part of the team which went to China in 2002 to exchange the perception of LAC in the Eastern Ladakh area. but there were
Sure.
differences, and the map was not exchanged. The exercise of exchange of map is still pending. That is a
Right.
scenario out there.
Oh, it's pending. I see. So that's why there's been no, there was just that agreement. So brings me to my next question. When we were in that agreement, they said no arms or something in that territory. Is that correct? No weapons, if I'm to be correct. So
Uh,
how are we to understand, General, that we basically went into this territory, right? And then why wouldn't the Chinese just use sophisticated mannerisms or finesse tactics to kill us instead of barbaric, almost rudimentary, like things I couldn't even think about when I'm trying to jump into, I'm a specialist in empathy, sir. I'm jumping into these soldiers' bodies and I'm wondering, like, how would I feel? Like, I'm not going to pull out a gun and start shooting these guys? Of course I would. My life is dependent on it. So I don't. Can you answer that part about the strangeness of if the government did issue it, why wouldn't they issue it in a more sophisticated way? Why was it like kind of like a brawl or a medieval brawl, if you will? If you ask me, it was grotesque.
uh, uh, Dr. Ranjan, your question is absolutely dot on. This has been in the mind of everybody in the nation. That those questions which you have in the mind, I like to go into detail and put it across to you. Firstly, you asked me that uh, the soldiers out there, when this conflict happened, were they not carrying weapons? And why weapons were not used? Am I right on this question, Doctor?
Come back. Yes, sir. You were right. I'm talking about, like, there is I think an agreement or some sort, but I didn't understand the method of the fighting after tearing down the structure. I was really kind of confused that it seemed like a Western movie if I'm putting myself in that situation, or Braveheart. They are Bravehearts to me. They're very courageous, but it seemed like that time of that time, not modern day drone key time, na. So I was wondering, like, what happened here.
Doctor, your question is very good and a pointed question. Actually, for anybody to imagine that two armies are meeting, two soldiers are meeting, and at that time they're using sticks or they are using clubs. This is just not imaginable. Firstly, let me tell you, this PLA is not an army per se. It's an army of a political party. It's an army of the Communist
Oh,
Party of China.
I see. I
And
see.
in fact, if you see all the accomplishment in life, they've been against the people in China itself. If you take the example of Tiananmen Square, they
Yes.
went with the tanks against their own people in Tiananmen Square. They've been doing the
Very
same type of tactics against the lamas in Tibet and
right.
against same thing against the Uyghur Muslims in Xinjiang area. Now, if we look at this incident which has been reported, what actually the key point is that the agreement which is there between India and China, we have a agreement of confidence building measure in military field,
Right.
1996, which Article 6 lays down three things very clearly. It says that whenever there is a face-off, uh, whenever there is a face-off between the patrols of India and China,
Sure.
uh, they they should not use the weapons. They should not open fire. And secondly, it says to ensure that the face-offs are resolved, they should exercise restraint and they should not provoke each other and they should disengage so that and put up their protest in the forums of flag meeting and the BPM. Even it goes to a level to say that 2 kilometers from the 2 kilometers the LAC, even if you go to carry out a blast, say maybe for the track improvement or something like that, you should inform each other 5 days in advance. But
Right.
let me tell you one thing, that in the forward areas, in the border areas, in the LAC area, troops always carry their weapons. In fact, weapon and the soldier is something which cannot be separated. Weapon is
Admiral,
like
yes,
a part of your own body, and
yes,
troops were carrying their weapons. It has been
right.
confirmed now by the sources that the troops were carrying their weapon, but
But they didn't. But
no firing.
this is miraculous, sir. Sorry to interrupt. It's miraculous that they followed the rules of engagement while their life was on the line. That's what I'm still having I guess a hard time comprehending. When you're outnumbered, you have so much thing, and you're still following rules of engagement. That's how dedicated our command system is. Like,
No, apart from following the instructions of the agreement, actually, these instructions do not apply in case the face-off is violent. When the
right.
face-off is violent for self-defense, you must
That makes
use your
sense.
weapons.
Sure,
But
that would
please,
make sense.
you must use. As a soldier, I will use it. There is no doubt in my
Definitely.
mind that for self-defense and defense of my boys, I will use a weapon in such circumstances. No doubt. But let me tell you a few of the things.
Yes,
Now,
sir.
this incident, when it happened, it was night time. This
Okay.
incident, where it happened, it is 15,000 feet high. It is sub-zero temperature. It is a
The
night time.
Yes, sir.
Now, actually, when the thing started, actually, the incident started from the aspect that the Chinese and the PLA had put up a tent. Our party told them that you have put up this tent, and we are talking about de-induction, de-escalation, and moving away from this. But you put the tent, so that melee started. So when this confusion started, then there was a fist fight
This is the
between both the sides. It was night. It was night, and they were even the reinforcement from the Chinese side joined in out there. See, when it is night, when there's a melee, when you find it difficult to identify who is friend and foe, the troops were spread out. You can't start firing because you will end up killing your own people also.
Definitely.
Actually, it has been seen that earlier also, whenever face-offs have been there, it happened once that Chinese started throwing stones. And since it was a melee, mostly it hit the Chinese troops itself. So what is got to be seen is that it was a scene of scuffle. It was a close proximity. Nobody, well, at least from our side, we didn't want a collateral damage, and that to our own people. It is very difficult to understand who is friend, who is foe in this type of a melee. So that was the reason that it was not possible to employ a weapon. Let me correct one more perspective. Some
Yes,
people
sir.
have also said, and I think those people who think good for the soldiers, they said that if this thing happened, why didn't you open up the arty fire? Why didn't you use the guns? Why didn't you uh, like bombard that area? But please understand the spread of the troops which was there.
Tough
Please
situation.
understand that there was a darkness out there. There was at this altitude, and in the area of Eastern Ladakh, there's a problem about oxygen also. You got until you acclimatize, you find it very difficult. And there is
Right.
a element of disorientation when you are in the night, when you're in that altitude, when you're in that scuffle which is violent. I think that was the reason that the RT was not used. These guns which are there, if they're used when your own troops are in the proximity, then it can harm your own people. Actually, to be very honest, Dr. Ranjan, let me clear one point that it is the commander on the ground, It is a man on the ground who takes the decision. Nobody
No,
can
definitely.
tell the man on the ground. And this hero of ours, Colonel Santosh Babu, was the leader on the ground. It's easy to
Here, here.
comment sitting 1,000 kilometers away, but he's a
Yes.
man. He is a man who gave his life. He is a man. And let me tell you one thing, a commanding officer of an infantry battalion is like he's like a father. He's like a god. I'm telling you honestly, if somebody did that to my commanding officer
I would
when
have
I was
gone
a young
crazy.
officer, the hell will be let loose. I will be uncontrollable. And the scene was like that only. And then
Wow.
our boys went out. They killed 43 of the Chinese and large number of them were injured. Facts will come out. There's no doubt about this. Let me tell
I'm
you one
sure.
thing. Let me tell you one thing that, there is a tradition of Indian Army that whoever is a martyr who lays down his life for the nation and does the
Right.
supreme sacrifice, we send the mortal remains to their native area. Uh,
Right.
we 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 will never tell lie on the topic martyr ever. We have never done it in life. But the
Right.
China has even not claimed the dead bodies, but counting from the number of helicopters, the intercepts which are there, other local intelligence which is there, they had 43 killed, and if I may not be wrong, there are another 11 who are killed, and there are a large number who are injured. In fact, I am deeply proud of the commanding officer. In fact,
Yeah.
he is the one, like my route of life. He was, when he was 10 years old, he joined Sainik school. He went through NDA, IMA. He was one of the most brilliant officer, and
Wow.
his command and control was excellent. And let me clear one more doubt, because uh, a very large number of people have got doubt what happened, things like that.
Right.
They Somebody also said, the fake media, they said he jumped into the river. No,
Come
never.
on.
He fought
Quite
like a
nonsense.
tiger. And you know what our
Yeah.
prime minister says? Our prime minister says, firstly, he said the supreme sacrifice will not go in vain. Second is,
Right.
those people who provoke, they'll get a befitting reply based on our capabilities. Third thing he said in Hindi, you must listen in Hindi. He says that, हमारे जो जवान हैं, जो शहीद हुए हैं, वो मारते मारते मरे हैं. आई वुड लाइक टू ऐड वन मोर. मारते, उन्होंने आखिरी दम तक चीनियों को मारा, मारा और मारा. उस सिचुएशन में गए हैं वो.
So brings me to the next question. So Che Ghanta, right? They were in this room 6 hours negotiating. You might have been in situations, I'm not sure, not as tense maybe, but still pretty tense. 6 hours. What do you do? Like how is there a stalemate? You're saying I'm not talking to you until you release our men. You bloody well better release our men. Otherwise, we're not talking to you. We'll see you in hell, basically. So how with that mindset, how do you even negotiate? Like it's very tough for me to even put myself in that position.
Dr. Ranjan, you have asked me a very sensitive and very beautiful question. In 40 years of my life, I have seen death, and I've seen the supreme sacrifice of my boys firsthand. I've been close to death myself many a times. This is part of the profession, and I think the best method of exiting from the earth. They say, if you take a lesson from Mahabharata and Abhimanyu, biggest problem is exiting from a problem, and similarly is how you exit from the
True.
life. And this method of exiting by supreme sacrifice is one of the most blessed system. You asked me about some boys who were taken in custody. In fact, let me share the facts with you. What
Please.
happened that like 6 hours that you told so beautifully, 6 hours is not in a normal place. It is at the altitude of 15,000 feet. It is in
Wow.
high altitude area. It is in sub-zero area. It is
Think.
area where it's a violent face-off is going on. It is an
Yeah.
area where deaths is occurring in front of you. It is an area where the brutality is going on. So some
Right.
of because of the spread of the boys, some got disoriented and went over to the other side of the LAC. There were 10
Right.
of them. And actually, it's quite common in the conflict in the LAC and LOC also that some troops go across to the other side. But let me tell you that we have protocols between armies. We tell them, and it was told to them, and honorably they returned them back. In fact, in my life also, I have seen some of the circumstances where when the troops have gone across, we speak to each other. and they returned. Let me tell you a very beautiful incident. It
Tell
was
me.
one of those Sundays. I was the additional DGMO in military operation in Delhi. One day,
Mhm.
what happened? One of our helicopter went across the line of control on the Pakistan side from the Kargil side,
Okay.
and weather was not good. So by mistake, it went to other side. So when it saw a helipad there, it wanted to land. It got disoriented. Weather was not good. Terrain was bad. So when it was about to land, last minute he realized it's a Pakistani helipad. And those
Wow.
Pakistanis who were in that helipad thought that it may be their own senior officers. So they came. They
My
stood in
God.
Savdan. They thought their own officer has come without informing. So they were scared that their senior officer has come. So they were
It's a
ready, and
terror.
so they were saluting and all. Then
Oh,
when we learned that our helicopter by mistake has gone to other side, we
right.
picked up. I was there, part of the team. We picked up the hotline telephone, spoke to Pakistan, spoke to the DGMO, and the DGMO being Sunday that day, he was out somewhere. So we contacted him on mobile. We told them that, look, one of our helicopter by mistake accidentally has crossed over. Please return that helicopter, and this must return before the sun sets today. And that DGMO, despite being a Pakistani DGMO, he said, sir, it'll be honored and we will have it dispatched back. So he passed
Wow.
the order. He passed the order, and this helicopter with its pilot returned
Was
before the
returned
sun
back.
set. We do have
Wow.
protocols of this nature.
Right. So if you were to say, so back to that other question that I asked before, because do you think the Chinese government are using as an excuse this pal? You're saying that they don't communicate so much with they're a rogue, maybe even force, or they're an extreme force, like what we used to see with the Gestapo. Are they like that, and Chinese are hiding behind that? Because it seems so odd to me. That, again, I'm saying that they wouldn't strategically do something and be prepared for it, and instead of brute force, or they're making it look like that. I mean, that's all I can keep wrapping my head around. Why would they not just have, with all their money, sophistication, what the heck were they trying to do? They're showing a brute force point, because then, I mean, then I'm even more upset, I guess. I mean, it's insane.
I have totally understood your question. Actually, the Chinese system, the way it has got developed for
Hmm.
centuries, is that they want to have tight control over their population. They don't want to give even an iota of freedom and liberty to their people. Actually, if you see it from the point of view of common Chinese, he is under such stress and duress. He's under such a control. He's under such a tight surveillance that it is so difficult for the Chinese to live out there. Actually, there is a big lie which the China has told the world. Like as I told you, that it's very interesting. If you look at this word China and you want to find out what is in, on one side you go to write ch, on one side you write a. So China in is clubbed by ch on one side and a on one side. It's very
Right.
difficult to know what China is all about. The
Right.
very concept of Great Wall is they don't want to anybody to know what they are. But
What's going
under
inside?
the under the tight control of the Chinese Communist Party, there is a tale of war, problems, and vulnerabilities. They have
Definitely.
only used lies, propaganda. That's why they have spent so much of money on media, on psychological warfare, on the legal warfare. That is the
Right.
reason that, and let me tell you one thing. Now, 15 June will be remembered in the history because they have lost the trust of India in totality. Before this,
Right.
we were very mature with them. So we used to show concern that let's not talk about Tibet, let's not talk about Taiwan, let's not talk anything against one China policy. But now, after this, all gates have been opened. All the dam, बांध, जो बांध होता है ना पानी का, वो खुल गया, अभी बाढ़ की तरह आएगा. And Chinese system is so brittle. Actually, the biggest problem which China has got as on today, the reason why they're doing this, all this aggressive activity is that there is a huge internal stability problem. And very large
opposition part.
Yes,
opposition part. Right.
Large number of people have risen up to ask the leadership. The president Xi Jinping, he puts on 12 hats on his head. He's in charge of everything. He wanted to become the core leader. He wanted to cross the level of Mao Zedong. He centralized everything so much. The whole thing is going to collapse. Take my words. अगर मैं हिंदी में कहूँ, अगर मैं आपको हिंदी में कहूँ, एक्चुअली कभी-कभी हिंदी में बोलने का बड़ा मजा आता है. चाइना की उल्टी गिनती शुरू हो गई है. उसमें कोई शक नहीं है.
अच्छा. So that brings me to the point again. Then, if you look at this map, A wala, this one. Sorry, sir, 1 second here. Yes, this one. I don't know if you can see it, but it shows that in April there was no structure, just like the COVID hospital. Overnight, in May, we see huge structures. We see not only huge structures that were just appearing, that it was just something that to be seen. It's like a huge barrack almost. Do you remember seeing those pictures? I'm sure you've done.
Yes,
Thank you.
I've seen this.
You get so many talk shows today and yesterday, but I'm so happy you stopped at ours. But can you tell me a little bit about that, the structure building?
Yes.
And yeah.
See, I'm very happy that you had a look at this. This picture shows the Chinese activity, because the satellite picture are compared every day to find out what are the changes in area. To be honest, we have also been keeping a glare on this area. We were aware about this Chinese activity. One thing, China may be enemy. Like I told you, I've been to China so many times. I had led a military delegation, and I went from the period 2000 to 2012. And I was personally very impressed with China, to be honest, on the issue of transformation, on the issue of infrastructure, on issue of economy, on issue of changes, on issue of unitary command, unitary decision, and unitary implementation. I was very happy about it. And I told myself whenever I went there that why don't we transform as a India? Why don't we come up so beautifully on the area of infrastructure? Actually, China has been very good on infrastructure. There's no doubt. And it has taken very little time to bring up infrastructure in this area. Actually, China was carrying out exercises in the area of Tibet when in 2020. And all that they did, they directed those troops from there to come into this area of East Ladakh. But I would like to warn you about one aspect of it, that China conducts propaganda war. It conducts psychological war. It is into media warfare. And if you analyze the last about say 4-5 months, it has come out with so many videos of itself, that they are doing this, they are doing that. But let me tell you one thing, the Chinese army has got a zero combat experience, because last time they had a combat experience was in Vietnam in 1979. And in that war, they were defeated very badly. And another thing I'd like to tell you, it's a very interesting incident that China has been sending their troops, their soldiers, for UN peacekeeping mission. So in South Sudan, in the area known as Zuba, in July 2015, the Chinese troops were in charge for looking after the aid workers. So one day what happened, the rebels attacked that location of the aid worker. And you know what happened? These Chinese troops, they ran off from there leaving their weapons. And in the firing, two of the soldiers got killed. Then the firing went on for 4 days, and these people were helter-skelter. And then Indian battalion in the United Nations went and rescued them. Actually, Chinese soldier is not a good soldier, but you are right what you are saying. They were
Well,
They
they're
can
not
only
treated properly. They're not treated properly as human beings, sir. Like, you
absolutely.
guys are a family. Like, when you describe me, the military family, and I asked you about mental health, even, you look after each other. So there's people that are not nourishing their people, but because they have a huge population, they don't have any regulations, sir. So that brings me to a question that Shabri had actually. General Gurmeet, how do soldiers like you stay calm even during such tense times?
That's a very touching and a beautiful question. To be honest, when I was a young officer, I told myself that inside me, I should adopt the teachings of my first guru, that is Guru Nanak Dev Ji. He was he's the icon of compassion. He's the icon of universality. He's the icon who believed, let's do something for others. So inside, I keep myself cool with the Mool mantra or the basic mantra of Guru Nanak Dev Ji, our first guru.
Right.
And outside, I tell myself, be like Guru Gobind Singh, absolutely a saint, soldier,
Awesome.
and a scholar. And
That's awesome.
Dr. Ranjan, to be very
Fill them
honest,
with your mind. Huh.
yeah, in fact, I am of this view that the entire existence is the space between your two ears,
Right. It's your
You got
command
to
center.
you got to take care of this 6 inches between your two ears. And
Definitely.
another aspect which Corona has taught, I learned it as an army officer, but which Corona has taught the entire world is how to remain calm. In
That's
lockdown,
right.
how to go inside. In lockdown, how to do meditation. In Corona, how to do internal thinking. In fact, to be honest, uh, the it's a blessing to be born in India because India has got so many mantras for itself. You can
That's right.
chant any mantra. You start with Om, Gayatri mantra, or whatever it is. All the mantras, the vibration which come out, they are in coherent frequency with the cosmic frequency of eternity. In
Right.
fact, since I'm so happy that I'm on the forum of good karma, I'm on the
Thank you.
forum where
Thank you.
our health warriors like you are taking care of the nation, society, and people. You talk about wellness, you talk about mental health, you talk
Yes.
about how to manage your thoughts, you talk about how to manage your perception. Actually, the battle is between these two ears. Actually,
Exactly.
one thing you must see that at times I wonder, this is the first time I'm sharing a thought with you, why do
Please.
Sikhs put on turban? Actually, they
Why?
put on turban because they want to remain prepared for the war. It's like a helmet. But apart
Exactly.
from that, they want to protect the ears. They want to protect the 6 inches within themselves.
So they don't corrupt
And
it. It doesn't get corrupted. Yes.
I'm conscious. I'm conscious that I'm talking to um, icon and a very revered doctor from Bengal. And let me tell
Not
you one thing.
getting there. Getting there. Getting
And
there. I showed you a picture.
I must share a joke with you.
Tell me.
When I was a second lieutenant and
Huh.
in a dinner party, so I went to pick up meal for myself, and I putting the items, the menu on my plate. So I had taken chicken, I had taken mutton, I had taken vegetable. So my plate was full. So my
Right.
commanding officer, a very elderly person and person whom I revere, he came close to me and he said, Gurmeet, you're not taken fish. So I told him, sir, I'm a little scared of the kanta in the fish. He said, bloody fool, if you eat chicken, you'll behave like murga. If you eat mutton, you'll behave like a bakri. And he says, if you eat fish, you'll be intellectual like a Bengali, he said.
Oh, my Tama used to say that too. Mate muro, eat fish brains so you can get smarter. And I guess it worked. I
Absolutely.
don't know. I don't know what happened, but I guess it might have worked. But I wanted to ask you. There was a question here, but from Shumeda Day. Do you want to know if General Gurmeet is happy with the decisions taken by the Prime Minister and the support provided to the Indian Army? Is it adequate? If you'd like to answer
Absolutely.
that.
Definitely, I would like to answer. I must
Yeah,
tell you that I come from the breed of that citizenship and that soldier content, where I am for the nation, society, and every citizen.
Right.
I follow 5 principles. For me, Constitution is sacred. I've taken a vow on it. I have faith on the democracy. I'm apolitical. I'm secular, and I believe in my professionalism. Now, when I look at the government, when I look at the Prime Minister, the government in place, the Prime Minister in place, and in particular this present Prime Minister, I'm absolutely fascinated. I'm being honest about it. Let me give you reason why. Let me give you a reason.
Answer, but I also am fascinated. Knowing international politics, I'm very fascinated because there has never been a limelight on India as much as now in all of our history. So, yeah.
Let me give you 5 reasons. Let me give you 5 reasons that why I am fascinated.
Tell me.
Actually, usually I find I follow the principle of Trishul, Shivji's Trishul, that give only 3 points. But here I'll give 5 points, you know.
Okay, please give me 5 points.
See, first point is that the trend which India is now is that we are in the trend, mission, direction, and the wind of taking hard decision. We are in the aspect of resoluteness, and we are in the scenario to express our national will. I was so thrilled when on 26 February, we took a bold and strategic decision and sent 12 fighter aircrafts across the Pakistan and attacked Balakot in the Brahm Muhurat Samay of 3:30 and killed more than 300 of terrorists in Pakistan. I was so thrilled. I was so thrilled on 5 August 2019 when the Home Minister in Parliament, in no uncertain terms, he laid the red lines for the nation. He said POK will be taken back. He said we don't approve of China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. He said the excision will be taken back. And India on that day, on 5 August, abrogated Article 370, created 2 new union territory. I think this was the boldest decision. I was very happy on 31st October 2019, the day when we created 2 union territories. And I was absolutely, I was thrilled literally when in November 2019, we came out with a new map, Survey of India map, and we said our union territory of Leh, Ladakh, of the Leh is like this. And our union territory of Jammu Kashmir, it has a portrait there. You know, if you notice the map of union territory of Leh, which has been given out by Survey of India, it's a bold statement. And in this bold statement, the beauty is that we have a border of 136 kilometers with Afghanistan. Second is that the Pakistan has got no border with China. Thirdly, Aksai belongs to us, and a day will come soon when it will be taken back from China. That is the reason I'm so proud that our leader speaks from strength. And another thing, yesterday that he spoke in reference to this 15 June, he spoke like a leader. He spoke like a statesman. हिंदी में कहते हैं बेटुक और बेबाक तरीके से बात की है. मजा आता है ऐसे सीन के अंदर.
I'm proud. I was proud to be Indian. I'm still proud. My American friends are still texting me. I told my Baba crazy things like, I want to do something. I want to join. Like, I don't think they let OCIs join, Baba, but I don't feel like this is my country, though. Like, I'm living here, and I have a goal here. And I feel like this is my land to protect. And if these guys had this whole plan the whole time, what can normal citizen like us do? Because I like to just say what happened in America. Slowly but surely, through shell companies, they started taking over US. US is in this bad shape only. Trump knows, sir, you know, because you know international politics. But slowly but surely, these guys started taking over. Slowly but surely, because of greed, we started saying, okay, regulation not needed. You can have a regulation not needed in China. In America, it's needed. But so these guys slowly, insidiously, have gotten in everything. I just warn India to not be in the same way. How reliant America is on China. And that doesn't mean you please don't hurt anybody who looks like Chinese. We're talking about the government. Please understand the difference. Sir just said how much he has friends there and how nice the people are. And they can't control the government. So how would you feel? We're in a democracy. They are not. So how would you feel? So please don't hurt anybody that looks like Chinese. Sure, if you want to break your products that you've already bought, that's your choice. But do not harm anybody, and do from now on make a conscious effort to not buy these guys' stuff, including HSBC, including every one of these guys, HDFC, sorry, anybody that's trying to infiltrate into our country like that. So, do you have any comments around that? Like, how a general citizen, I can't take up arms now. I wish I could, but they can't. I don't think they'll sanction me. But if I could, I would. I'm really upset. All jokes aside, this really affected me. That's why, even if there's nobody watching this, sir, I don't care. I want you to know you made me feel better, and then I go and help thousands of people. Because if I have this chinta in my head, how will I even function every day? Like, how will I even get to know how to do anything in life? How can I meditate? How can I take care of myself? So thank you, number one. Number two is, how can the citizen, the Indian, like in Kolkata, there's already been non-party, not riots, I shouldn't say that, that's in America, but non-partisan just protests, peaceful protests. So can you tell me how we can like help change this situation?
To be honest, your question is very touching. You know, when a person says, what can I do for my nation? What can I do for my society? What can I do for other organs of nation? In fact, this is very touching when you find that as a soldier, you're not alone in this conflict and in this fight. And it's touching for a soldier to know that everybody wants to contribute. Actually, the element of national spirit in every Indian is so good, so touching, so superb. Firstly, I would like to say one thing, that the conflict is about all elements of power. It is not only of military, but it is of all elements of power. Whether it's economy, it's technology,
Right.
it's every element of power. Even the health is part of that element of power. You know.
Definitely.
Fact,
Whoever
today,
brings the immunization,
absolutely,
right? Right.
and touching when a common person from the street comes up and says, I will boycott, I will ban. When the government says we will terminate all the contracts of the Chinese, that means that trend is there in the nation, that everybody is one on this aspect. China, PLA,
Definitely.
that they have lost the trust for next 100 of years. And let me tell you one thing, when 1.23 billion Indians decide that Chinese application, product, anything concerning which comes from the finance and economy of China, for him it is boycott and ban, then the entire subject of Chinese economy will collapse. There is no doubt about this. And let me tell you one thing, that the 85 lakh people who got infected with the COVID, what do you think they would have decided? They have decided that this corona COVID came from China. So we are not going to leave China on this aspect of it. And you know, I'm conscious, I'm talking to a doctor. I have the highest respect for the health warriors. I got the highest respect for sanitation workers. I got the highest respect for doctors and nurses. They are doing the yeoman service for the nation. In fact, I'm proud the way we've taken on this challenge. In fact, I find that the current challenge at the moment for us is Corona and COVID. Actually, this is I would say, the treachery of China and Pakistan. They're trying to keep us busy on the aspect of LAC and LOC. Otherwise, the
Right.
entire humanity, entire world should be focusing on Corona.
Together.
In fact,
Exactly.
in fact, I would say Corona and the mental health of every citizen is more dearer than any other challenge. In fact, I'm so
Thank you,
proud,
sir. Thank
so
you.
happy, and I'd like to convey you my reverence that you're dealing with the sensitive topic of mental health. And I
Yes.
wish you and your team, and it is more touching that your words which you use, like good karma, so itself, the fountain from where this word come, it indicates the positivity, it indicates the wellness, it indicates the positivity of for compassion for everybody. This is very touching to me, you know.
Yes, sir. Thank you. And from Good Karma, that gives me a segue. We're giving you our Lifetime Achievement Award. We don't give it to many people, but people that have contributed, and you, sir, have contributed more than I could even say. So your swag bag when social distancing is over is in
Thank
here,
you,
full of
and
good stuff. Good stuff. Even I know that you like to match your masks because I've seen you, sir. I watch you. I'm not a fanboy, but I watch you. So here's a Good Karma, your mask. Think good, do good. Okay. And so you
very
will be getting
touching.
one of these and a hat and everything that you might use as accessories. But the best of all, sir, we're donating in your name 5,001 rupees to the fund that my father is doing in Hasnabad, Taki after the cyclone, which will give clean water, food to all the people that are displaced from the Sundarban area. They're living in tents right now, waiting for housing. We're trying to get the crisis relief ASAP, but until that time, we're trying to take care of them as much as possible because that's my dadu's home, my grandfather's grandfather's home. So we're trying our best. They're in bad shape, and I thank you, sir, for this time because honestly, it really means a lot to me that you would even stop by and do this for us. It's just such a treat, honestly.
Thank you so much. It is very touching for me. It's a great day for me. It was an exclusive pleasure and a distinctive honor for me. And I'm very
My
touched.
honor is
I'm
all
very
mine.
touched.
Seriously, honor is
And
all
I
mine.
would like to convey Jai Hind from my side, Jai Hind from entire Indian Army and all the soldiers of the nation that you started today's session remembering the supreme sacrifice of the soldier. It's very touching to me, to everyone as a soldier. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And
Thank you
my
so
best
much.
wishes to you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thanks for coming in. Take care now. So there you have it. We had General Gurmit Singh. He's just an amazing, amazing man, a family man, somebody who's raised 3 beautiful children, has a beautiful wife, and still ruthless. Don't get it twisted, guys. I'm upset. You know why I'm upset? Is because I was upset when coronavirus came out and it delayed 2 weeks. I'm upset because not only now we understand what China's been trying to do this whole time, but we understand that they're attacking us because they think we're weak. I'm upset because there's no way you can tell me right now, today, that you wouldn't protect your land. And that's where I'm gonna have to say, bye guys, we will boost this, let's share it, let's make sure this happens because we want people to understand that this is something that we have been doing for a while. And China's been manipulating the situation. And if we are to be together in anything, we need to do it now. In the US, US, they didn't expect this to happen. They thought they were just doing capitalism as normal, but it wasn't. They made a deal with somebody who was eventually trying to take the market space. And here we have demagogues and whatnot in first world countries, they say, that are trying to appease the situation. I'm worried about our borders. Aren't you guys? Because if you ask me, we should really be worried about our borders. So, okay, really, this has been such a pleasure, but I want to let everybody know that everything's cool. So let everything happen to you. Everything's calm. We will all survive this. Beauty and terror. Just keep going. You know why? No, no feeling is final. If you are angry today, do something about it. If you are indignant today, do something about it. Don't have to be violent. Do something about it. Online portal is already available. We're about to make a My Good Karma app. It's coming soon. And with that, I would like to end every show now with my tagline. Good night, my pleasure, and hopefully my good karma. Thank you, and thanks for tuning in.